at stage 11, paragraph page
Mm-hmm.
990. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
our last headword was terminal, new word type of lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's
Yes.
start with revision. Ready?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. First question. What are the three forms of weep? What are the three forms of weep? The three forms
The three
of weep
forms of weep
are weep,
are
wept,
weep,
wept.
wept, wept.
Right, do people often weep at the funeral of someone they were very close to? Do people often weep at the funeral of someone they were very close to? Yes.
Yes.
People often weep
People often weep
at the funeral
at
of
the
someone
funeral of someone
they were very close
they
to.
were very close to.
Very good. Okay, give me an example of ask for. Give me an example of the words ask for, please. Sandra thought
Sandra thought
the film
the
was a
film
bit of a
was a bit
drag.
of a drag.
As for me,
As for me,
I loved every second
I
of it.
loved every second of
Of it.
it.
Very good. Okay, next. Here we go. So let's have word. Okay. Do you know how to knit? Do you know how to knit? Yes or no?
Oh, yes,
I know
I
how to knit.
know how to knit.
In your country, what number do you dial in case of emergency? In your country, what number do you dial in case of emergency? In my country,
In my
we
country,
dial
we dial
119
911, oh, 911
in case of
in case
emergency.
of an emergency.
Very good. If people behave badly on previous occasions, what do some bars and pubs do to them? If some people behave badly on previous occasions, what do some bars and pubs do to them? If people behave
If people
badly
behave badly
on previous occasions,
on previous occasions,
some bars and
some birds
pubs
and pubs
prohibit them
prohibit them
from entering again.
entering
Yeah,
again.
from entering again.
From entering again.
Very good. What do we usually use to stab something? What do we usually use to stab something? We usually
We
use a
usually
knife
use a knife
or any pointed
or any
objects
pointed
to
object
stab something.
to stab something.
Very good. What do we have to do in order for us to take money out of the bank? What do we have to do in order for us to take money out of the bank? We have to insert
We have to
a
insert
bank card
a bank
in
card
order for us
in order for us
to take money
to take money
out of the bank.
out of the bank.
Where do we usually feel happy when someone who is very close to us dies? Do we usually feel happy when someone who is very close to us dies? No, we
No,
don't
we
usually
don't
feel
usually
happy
feel
when
happy
someone
when someone
who is very
who is
close
very
to us
close
dies.
to us die.
We usually grieve.
We usually grieve.
Very good. If we know that a person is very sensitive, is it a good idea to tease him about anything? If we know that a person is very sensitive, is it a good idea to tease him about anything? No. If
No,
we know
if you know
that a person
that a person
is very
is
sensitive,
very sensitive,
it isn't
it
a
isn't
good idea
a good
to
idea
tease him,
could,
to
to
tease him
tease him
about anything.
about anything.
Very good. Is it interesting and nice to look at if you illustrate a book with pictures? Is it interesting and nice to look at if you illustrate a book with pictures? Yes, it's
Yes,
interesting
it's
and
interesting
nice to look
and
at
nice to look at
if I
if
illustrate
I illustrate
a book with
a
pictures.
book with pictures.
Very good. Do people usually yell when they are hungry, angry, surprised, or when they're trying to get someone's attention? Do people usually yell when they are angry, surprised, or when they're trying to get someone's attention? Yes,
Yes,
people usually
people
yell
usually
when
yell
they are
when
angry,
they are angry,
surprised,
to
or
surprise,
when they're
or while
trying
they are
to
trying
get someone's
to get
attention.
someone's attention.
Greg, do our ideas for any problem depend on how we personally perceive the problem itself? Do our ideas for any problems depend on how we personally perceive the problem itself? Yes. our
Yes.
ideas,
Ideas.
our ideas
Our ideas.
for any problem
Any problems
depend on
depend
how
on
we personally,
we personally
how we
how
personally
we personally
perceive the problem
perceive
itself.
problem itself.
Right? Do you usually punch someone or something when get angry? Do you usually punch someone or something when you get angry? Yes or no?
Mm. Oh no,
I don't
no,
usually
I don't
punch
usually
someone
punch someone
or something
or
when
something.
I get
When
angry.
I get
I
angry,
just try
I just
to
try
keep myself
to keep
calm.
myself calm.
Very good. To keep the plant healthy, what should you do with the leaves? To keep the plant healthy, what should you do with the leaves? To keep the plant
To keep the plant
healthy,
healthy,
you should spray the
you
leaves
should spray the leaves
with water once
with
a day.
water once a day.
Very good. If the football player were all fit, would they surely dominate the game? If the football players were all fit, would they surely dominate the game? Yes. If
Yes,
the football
if the
players
football players
were all fit,
were all fit,
they would surely
they would surely
dominate the game.
dominate the game.
What kind of things do you loathe? What kind of things do you loathe? The kind of
The
things
kind of
I
things
loathe are
I lost are cockroaches.
cockroaches. Very good. Yucky, right? Again. What is it better to do if a building or a bridge isn't safe anymore? What is it better to do if a building or bridge isn't safe anymore? If a building
If a building
or a bridge
or a bridge
isn't safe
isn't
anymore,
safe anymore,
it's better to
it's better
demolish it.
demolish it.
To demolish it.
To demolish it.
Very good. Okay, do you usually wake up in a cheerful mood? Do you usually wake up in a cheerful mood? Yes or no?
No,
I don't
I
usually
don't
wake
usually
up
wake up
in a cheerful
in
mood.
the cheerful mood.
Very good. Do you think that decorating an office in a bright and cheerful manner has any impact on the quality of work that people produce? Do you think that decorating an office in a bright and cheerful manner has any impact on the quality of work that people produce? Yes or no?
Yes,
I think that
I think that
decorating an
decorating
office
an
in
office
a bright
in the bright
and cheerful
and
manner
cheerful
has
manner
some
has
impact
some impact
on the quality
on
of
the
work
quality of work
that people produce.
that people produce.
Very good. Give me an example of the word elsewhere. Give me an example of the word elsewhere, please. The
The
atmosphere in the
atmosphere
bar
in the
was
bar
distinctly
was
unpleasant.
distinctly unpleasant,
So we decided
so we
to
decided
go
to
elsewhere.
go elsewhere.
Very good. What might happen to a building if it doesn't have decent foundation? What might happen to a building if it doesn't have decent foundations? If a building
If a building
doesn't have
doesn't have
decent foundations,
decent foundations,
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 it might start
it might
sinking
start sinking
into the land
into the land
and could
and
eventually
could be eventually
collapse.
collapse.
Very good. What's a lounge? What's a lounge? A lounge
A
is
lounge
a large
is
room
a large room
in a private
in a
house,
private house,
a hotel,
a hotel,
an airport
an
terminal,
airport
etc.,
terminal, etc.,
where people can sit
where people can sit
and relax.
and relax.
Very good. What two other names are commonly used for a lounge in a private house? What two other names are commonly used for a lounge in a private house? Two other
Two
names
are the means
commonly used
commonly
for
used
a lounge
for a
in a
lounge
private house
in a private
are
house,
sitting room
a sitting room
and living room.
and living room.
Very good. Okay, so that's the end of our revision. Let's
Hmm.
have new word. Okay, repeat. Glimpse,
Glimpse,
glance,
glance,
before long.
before long.
Very good. Okay, listen. Glimpse is a verb. It means to see something for a very short time. For
Hmm.
example, I glimpsed him through the window of my car as his
Hmm.
car passed by.
Hmm.
Glance is a verb. It means to look at something for a very short time. For
Hmm.
example, I'm glancing at my watch.
Hmm.
I'm glancing at the picture on the wall.
Hmm.
Before long means in a short amount of time. For example, she's been glancing at her watch since her mother left home. She has expected her to arrive before long. Okay, let's
Mhm.
practice. What's the difference between to glimpse and to glance? What's the difference between to glimpse and to glance? The difference
The
between
difference
to
between
glimpse
to
and
glimpse
to glance
and to
is
glance
that to glimpse
is that to
means
glimpse
to
means
see something
to see
for a
something
very short
for a
time,
very short time,
whereas to glance
whereas to
means
glance
to
means
look at
to
something
look at
for
something
a very short
for a
time.
very short time.
Very good. Okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? You're glancing
You are
at your
glancing
watch.
at your watch.
What am I doing? What am I doing? You're glancing
You are
at
glancing
the picture
at the
on the wall.
picture on the wall.
Very good. What do I mean if I say I glimpsed the stadium at the distance several times as I drove through the town? What do I mean if I say I glimpsed the stadium in the distance several times as I drove through the town? If you say
If you say,
I glimpsed
I glimpse at
the stadium
the stadium
in the distance
in the distance
several times
several
as
times
I drove
as I
through
drove
the town,
through the
you
town,
mean
you
you
mean
briefly saw
you briefly
the
saw
stadium
the stadium
several times.
several times.
Where if you visited India, would it be reasonable to assume that before long you'd catch a glimpse of a tiger? If you visited
Mm.
India, would it be reasonable to assume that before long you'd catch a glimpse of a tiger? Yes or no?
Yeah, yes,
If
yes.
I visited
If I
India,
visited India,
it'd be
it
reasonable
would be
to
reasonable
assume that
to assume that
before long
before
I'd
long
catch
I
a
touch
glimpse of a
a
tiger.
glimpse a tiger
Of a tiger.
of a tiger.
Very good. Next, repeat handy,
Handy,
on hand,
on hand,
dispose of,
dispose are
junk.
junk,
Very good. Spam.
spam.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word handy means
Mm-hmm,
near and easy to reach. For
mm-hmm,
example, I always keep a pen handy in case I need one.
mm-hmm,
Okay. On hand is a synonym of handy. It means
mm-hmm,
present and available when needed. On hand. For
mm-hmm,
example, at major public events such as music festivals, there are always ambulances on hand to deal with medical emergencies.
mm-hmm,
Dispose of is a verb. It means to throw something away. For example, the waste should be properly disposed of. The word junk is a noun. It means
mm-hmm,
old things that have been thrown away or that have little value. For example, I believe it's better to dispose of old junk rather than keep stuff in case it comes in handy one day.
mm-hmm,
The word spam is a noun. It means
mm-hmm,
email that is not wanted and is sent to a huge number of people and that
mm-hmm,
consists mostly of advertising. For example,
mm-hmm,
I really hate reading spam in my email. I just delete them right away.
mm-hmm.
Let's practice. Do you always keep a pen handy in case you need one? Do you always keep a pen handy in case you need one? Yes or no?
Oh, yes.
I
I
always keep
always
a pen
keep a
handy
pen handy
in case
in
I need
case
one.
I need one.
Very good. Okay, next. At major public events such as music festivals, are
Mm-hmm.
there always ambulances on hand to deal with medical emergencies? At major public events such as music festivals, are there always ambulances on hand to deal with medical emergencies? Yes.
Yes,
At major
at the
public
major
events
public events
such as music
such as
festivals,
music festivals,
there are
there
always
are always
ambulances on hand
ambulances on
to
hand
deal with
to deal with
medical emergencies.
medical emergency.
Very good. Do you believe it's better to dispose of old junk rather than keep stuff in case it comes in handy one day? Do you believe it's better to dispose of old junk rather than keep stuff in case it comes in handy one day? Yes or no?
No,
I don't
I
believe
don't believe
it's better
it's
to
better
dispose of
to dispose
old
of
junk
old junk
rather than keep
rather than
stuff
keep stuff
in case
in
it
case
comes in
it
handy
comes in
one
handy
day.
one day.
Very good. What do we mean by junk email or spam? What do we mean by junk email or spam? By junk
By
email
junk
or
email
spam,
or
we
spam,
mean
we
unwanted
mean a
email.
wanted email,
Unwanted email
unwanted
that
email
is sent
that is sent
to a huge
to a
number
huge
of people.
number, a huge number
Of
of people.
people.
Mhm.
Very good. Next, repeat contemporary.
Contemporary,
Very good. Okay, listen. The word contemporary is an adjective. It means
Mm-hmm.
modern or at the present
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
For example, contemporary art means modern art.
Mm-hmm.
Contemporary furniture means modern furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's practice. Who's your favorite contemporary author? Who's your favorite contemporary author? My
Mm-hmm.
favorite
My favorite
contemporary
contemporary
author
author
is,
is
uh, let's say, Haruki
Haruki
Murakami.
Murakami. Haruki
Very
Murakami.
good. Okay, next repeat. Lunch,
Lunch,
satellite,
satellite,
or satellite,
satellite,
rocket,
rocket,
technology,
technology,
technological,
technological,
come down.
calm down.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word launch is a verb. It means to send or shoot something, such as a rocket, into the air or into the
Mm-hmm.
outer space. For
Mm-hmm.
example, satellites are launched into space by rockets.
Mm-hmm.
To launch also means to offer or sell something for the first time. For example, some people buy products, especially technological products, as soon as they're launched rather than wait a while for prices to come down because they're excited by the product and can't wait to get one of their own. Satellite is a noun. Satellites
Mm-hmm.
are used for radios, televisions, and other types of communications, and
Mm-hmm.
for studying the objects they move around. For
Mm-hmm.
example, weather can be predicted with the help of satellites.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket is a noun. It is a spacecraft in the shape of a tube that is driven
Mm-hmm.
by a stream of gases let out behind it when fuel is burned inside. For
Mm-hmm.
example, a space rocket is used for flights to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Technology is a noun. It means new machine, equipment, and all ways of doing things that are based on modern knowledge about
Mm-hmm.
science and computers. Technology has made our lives easy these days.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the car has the latest in fuel saving technology. Technological is the adjective of the noun technology. It
Mm-hmm.
means relating to or using technology.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last part is come down. It is a
Mm-hmm.
phrasal verb. It means to go to a lower level, come down.
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
example, the prices of goods have continued to come down this week.
Mm-hmm.
Let's practice.
Mm-hmm.
How are satellites launched into space? How are satellites launched into space?
Mm-hmm.
Satellites are
Satellites
launched
are
into
launched
space
into
by
space
rockets.
by rocket.
Regard, why do some people buy products, especially technological products, as soon as they're launched, rather than wait a while for prices to come down? Why do some people buy products, especially technological products, as soon as they're launched, rather than wait a while for prices to come down? Some people
Some people
buy products,
buy products,
especially
especially
technological products,
technological
as
products,
soon as
as soon as
they're launched,
they
rather
launch,
than
rather than
wait a while
wait a
for
while
prices
for
to
prices
come down
to come down
because
because
they're excited
they are
by
excited
the product
by the
and
product
can't wait
and can't
to
wait
get one
to
of their
get one
own.
of their own.
Very good. Next, repeat exceed,
Exceed,
earnings,
earning,
overdrawn,
overdrawn,
overdraft.
overdraft.
Very good. Okay, listen.
Mhm,
Overdrawn is an adjective. It means
mhm,
more money is withdrawn from an account that is available. For
mhm,
example, if customers are being overdrawn on their accounts, they are required to pay a fee. Exceed is a verb. It means
mhm,
to be greater or better than something, or to
mhm,
go beyond or past an allowed limit. For example, the view of the mountains, the romantic atmosphere at the place, etc., exceeds all my expectations.
mhm,
Exceed all my expectations. They were
mhm,
all better than what I expected. I need to find a new flat that the rent must not exceed
mhm,
5,000 pesos a month.
mhm,
Okay, earnings is a noun. It means money received as wages or gained as profit. For
mhm,
example, if a person's spending constantly exceeds their earnings, they go overdrawn at the bank.
mhm,
overdraft is a noun. It means the
Mhm.
amount of money that you owe to the bank when you have spent more money than is in your bank account. For
Mhm.
example, I spent my money too much that I
Mhm.
exceeded the amount available in my bank account, and now I end up with a large overdraft.
Mhm.
Let's practice. Name a
Mhm.
place you visited that exceeded all your expectations.
Mhm.
Name a place you visited that exceeded all your expectations, please.
Mhm. Mount Fuji
Is a place
is a
I
place
visited
I visited
that exceeded
that
all
exceeded
my
all my
expectations.
expectations.
Very good. What happens if a person's spending constantly exceeds their earnings? What happens if a person's spending constantly exceeds their earnings? If a person's
If a person
spending
spending
constantly exceeds
constantly
their
exceed
earnings,
their
they go
earnings, they go
overdrawn at the bank.
overdrawn at the bank.
Very good. Okay, so now let's move on to reading.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, so our reading is at stage 9, paragraph
Mhm.
page 702. Okay, and our last
702.
headword was somewhat. Okay,
Mhm.
please start at headword at all.
At all. Oh, give me a sentence with the words at all.